chasing new ideas. Now, I'll be the first to admit, a new idea is very sexy and exciting, and it can be inspiring to your people to bring these new ideas. But here's the problem. I see a lot of CEOs that are struggling to execute on the current projects they have. They're behind, they don't have enough time, they have no white space, people don't feel aligned, and all of those things are dragging the company down. And then they add on top of that 1, 2, 5, a dozen new ideas every month or quarter or even year, and it's too much. So you've got to ask yourself, are you chasing these new ideas just because you're interested, or is it what the business really needs?
Welcome to Grow Think Tank. This is the one and only place where you will get insight from the founders and the CEOs of the fastest growing privately held companies. I am the host. My name is Gene Hammett. I help leaders and their teams navigate the defining moments of their growth. Are you ready to grow?
Today we're going to talk about the CEO habits that you think are helping you, but they aren't. Habits have been really on fire lately. James Clear has been on the show before. He wrote the book on habits, Atomic Habits. If you want to check that out, a lot of people around the world are talking about this book. I've started thinking about what are the CEO habits that need to be reinforced. But this is not that video. This is the video of the habits that you think are strategic, the CEO habits that you think are strategic, but they aren't. So let's dive in. My name is Gene Hammett. I am a CEO coach. We do executive coaching and have leadership development. We help fast-growing companies tame the chaos and really create structure, create a sense of growth. We help the executives with their leadership skills, but also their leadership presence and really their identity shifts as the company begins to change and evolve. Because what got you to this level may not get you to the next level. And if you want to check out some free training that we have, go to training.coreelevation.com and you can find out a lot about the company just by going to this absolutely free training. We do it once a week. Find out the details at training.coreelevation.com. So today we talk about the CEO habits that you think are strategic, that are helping you, but they really aren't. The first one is chasing new ideas. Now, I'll be the first to admit, a new idea is very sexy and exciting, and it can be inspiring to your people to bring these new ideas. But here's the problem. I see a lot of CEOs that are struggling to execute on the current projects they have. They're behind, they don't have enough time, they have no white space, people don't feel aligned, and all of those things are dragging the company down. And then they add on top of that 1, 2, 5, a dozen new ideas every month or quarter or even year, and it's too much. So you've got to ask yourself, are you chasing these new ideas just because you're interested, or is it what the business really needs? Most of the time, what the business really needs, from my perspective, is to identify what's working inside the business and how do you create more power? How do you create more effectiveness? So if marketing is working for you, how do you leverage that for more growth? If sales is what's working for you, how do you leverage that for more growth? And then you keep innovating inside that. So those new ideas that work inside of the current aspect of the business that is really performing and well is a great use of your time and for your team's time to do that. So chasing new ideas sounds great as a CEO, but in fact, it can be too much of a good thing, if that makes sense. The second one I want to talk to you about is staying in the weeds. It's really commendable for every CEO I know to say they want to have their fingers on the pulse of everything in the business. This is the founder mentality, because the founder created the idea, hired the first few employees, had built the product market fit, and is so ingrained into the business that they are in the weeds. They're in the business, not working on it. And they're not really leading the way they could. Now, a lot of the work I've had to really reflect with a lot of my clients is how to get out of the weeds, the day-to-day work, the transactional leaders, one of the tools that we use in our 5 levels of this. And I've done many contents on 5 levels of leadership. But in the weeds sounds good. But here's the problem. If you are in the weeds making the decisions, then people will rely on you to make those decisions. If you are the one that is fixing the problem, then people will rely on you to fix the problem. They'll wait for you, and you become the bottleneck of the business. So instead, you've got to shift your leadership model. Again, if you want to come to the free training we have around that, just go to training.coreelevation.com. The third area is avoiding tough conversations. This habit is persistent. Giving people feedback should not be something that you question. Giving people feedback should be natural, should be just a part of how you engage and sit down with people. In fact, one of my favorite interview questions is it's kind of a two-part question. One is, when you do something we love, how should we reward you? And just talk about it. It's great. They want to do things to be recognized. But then the second part of the question is really the heavy lifting of this, which is, when you do something we don't love, how do we handle that? Get an upfront agreement that you can give them feedback. Get an upfront agreement that you can give them a chance to grow, an opportunity. It's not something that should be avoided. So a lot of people, this CEO habit of avoiding tough conversations, there's a reason why we wrote the book, How to Have Tough Conversations. I mean, I'll grab it right here because I was just showing it to someone. That is something you need to work on if you are a CEO. Now, I could go through many other habits behind this, but I wanted to keep these short and hard hitting. So this is part one. I will come back with part two so that you can find out more CEO habits that you think are strategic, but they really aren't. My name is Hammett. When you think of growth and you think of leadership, think of Growth Think Tank. As always, lead with courage. We'll see you next time.